Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We apologize on there not being audio. We got the audio fixed up. Tonight, we've got ourselves some ISRC racing action for the Layer Up Productions Truck Series. It's Season 7, round number 12, the last race of the regular season for the Spooky Arts Production 225 at Old Atlanta here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. And Zach, we're here for the regular season finale, and what a racetrack to be at.
That's true, Sam. Very, very fun to see this to be the regular season finale. We've seen it be a championship finale here in the past at ISRC, but this old track, the 2008 configuration of Atlanta, it is such got so much character, so much racing ability to it that we're gonna have quite a show on our hands tonight when the green flag does drop.
Well, we just got done with qualifying. We had a breakdown that didn't get out, but instead, we'll take a look at our point standings. This is the breakdown we actually were having, and we're talking before the broadcast, before this race. It's going to be important to look at. That is going to be our point standings as we're into the warm-up. And here's going to be the breakdown so far. Top 12 drivers automatically make it in just based off of points. If you have a win between 13th and 20th in points, you will be an additive driver. You could be the 13th, 14th driver into the playoffs. And one that's right on the cut line will not be racing here tonight, is not taking provisional points. Cody Reed is opting out of tonight's race because of work obligations. But Zach, it puts in a huge opening for 3 drivers: Joshua Kanata, Danny Cochran, Samuel Garcia. They all have a chance to point their way into the playoffs or even win and make it in.
That's very true. Those 3 definitely the best when it comes to the point option, but we do have to look all the way down to the likes of someone like a Dakota Moniz, a Joshua Freed, a Tyler Dingler. They're all within 4 points of the top 20. If they get a win tonight and get inside the top 20, they can be a wild card driver added to the playoffs also, such as Cody Reed. So we could have 13, 14 drivers if this night ends up a different, in a wild fashion, so to say.
And Dakota Moniz, who comes into tonight as one of those drivers just outside of our top 20. He's not going to be a real driver of contention to watch out for, but like you said, Ali Fonseca, major driver. If he wins, he could be making it into the playoffs. There's a few other drivers that if they find themselves with a win, could be an additive. I know Michael Miller has looked very strong. A fan of the whole entire chat, Joshua Stovall, he's in a must-win scenario to make the playoffs. There's a lot of big name drivers that we know are going to be favorites here tonight. And we also know top drivers, they also have their own competition, as John Forbes and Vincent Sorazak, they will be fighting to see who could be the regular season champion.
That's going to be super critical too. That regular season champion could be a momentum swinger and a bonus point builder. So we'll see how it all shakes out here tonight in Atlanta. But man, we got quite a race, I think, under our hands here.
We're going to skip looking at the schedule. We're instead going to go straight to our pick'ems. Who are drivers we feel like are going to be the favorites to watch out for here tonight, or just have major storylines to watch out for? We're going to start off with my pick, driver that's in that top 3, Danny Cochran. Driver that won this race the last time they were here back in season 5. Would love to double down at Old Atlanta. He's put a lot of practice in. Watch out for the 2 machine here tonight. Zach, who's your driver to watch out for, though, this evening?
Gotta give you credit. Love your pick, Sam, there. I think Danny's gonna be a big threat, but I'm gonna go with his teammate Vincent Sword. And the reason to buy this one, folks, is he told me to do it. He said, every time you pick me, I don't get a win. He said, pick me tonight. I feel good about it. So I went with Vincent Sword again. We'll see if he can finally get it done with me picking him.
Hey, this is one of Vinny's historic racetracks. This was the track that he got the win, the pole, led the most laps back in season 1, and took his championship victory with as well. Not a bad pick at all. And then our third member of our crew running productions in the background is Robert Moyer Jr. picking Cedric Hunter, hoping for some strong things. And it is a full going to be Cochran Sora Racing lineup that we're going to be seeing across the line. That team has looked strong, and they're going to be hoping for the best here this evening.
That they will. This team has definitely got some strong contention when it comes to these style of racetracks. So it's going to be a wild start to see if they can all get together.
It certainly is, as we are finishing up our warm-ups. Tonight's race going to be Atlanta, 150 laps in total. There will be a stage break at the end of lap 30, but there will be no stage yellow thrown. But if there is a caution between lap 25 and 30, that would count as our stage break as well. 4 extra sets of tires in pit road, and it's all going to be coming down to tonight's race. Who will be making it into the playoffs? It's going to be a fun one overall, but we are excited. What a season it's been, Zach. It's crazy to think the regular season's about to come to a conclusion.
It is crazy to say. It's flown past. And even tonight when I got in here getting ready for the race, I said, it is the regular season finale, Zach. It kind of blew my mind thinking about it, but it just shows you how fast everything can go. And this 150 laps is going to be quick also, so get ready, folks.
It It's going to be extremely quick as we've just finished up practice, qualifying, warm-up. That means it's about to be race time. As we take a look at our starting grid, pole sitter going to be Thomas Green and the 18 machine. Then down in second place, we find ourselves with Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran, Presley Sora in fourth with Isaac Shelley in fifth. Going to be seen in sixth place, Joshua Stovall. He needs a strong run in a must-win scenario to make the playoffs. Justin Campbell going to be in seventh place. Eighth is Nick Crawford. Larry England going to be in ninth place with Jared Talmadge, finishing off our top 10.
Starting in 11th, it's going to be the 77 of Mark Whitley. Alongside him in 12th, it's going to be the 13 of Cedric Hunter. Three-time in a row winner this season here is John Forbes. Let's see if he can go for 4 in a row tonight, starting 13th. Alongside him, Michael Miller in a must-win position is going to start 14th. 15th is going to go to the 80 of Justin Sykes, with 16th in qualifying going to Tyler Dingler. 17th is going to be the 46 a Trenton Jump a Pass champion here at ISRC. 18th the 16 truck of Joshua Kanana, looking for a good points night for him. 19th is going to be Ali Fonseca, and rounding out our top 20 is Samuel Garcia.
As we drop down the results page, we also are going to be seeing in 21st position Joshua Freed, past winner of this race back in season 2 based off a fuel mileage run, was Eric Stamp in that 22nd position. Then in 23rd, it's Mark Morales Jr. And finishing out our 24 drivers, it's going to be the 4 of Justin Forbes. Tonight's race, again, is Spooky Night for these drivers. That's the theme. So some of the drivers bringing out some of their best Halloween schemes, just trying to have some fun. I know if for the sponsor of today's race, being Larry Art Productions, going to be the driver that is exciting to see how Larry's going to be picking out whoever is his favorite scheme. Going to get a little bit of extra cash. And also the drivers having a little bit of fun. You've got here Nick Crawford. He was watching some past broadcasts, realized, you know what, let's have some driver cams, and he's also driving with a costume. So we've got ourselves Nick Crawford bringing out the Spider-Man's costume for himself.
Gotta love it. Definitely in the Halloween spirit with paint scheme and driver suit. So it's going all down now. This thing is showing off his Spider-Man muscles here as he gets ready for tonight's race in Atlanta. But it's definitely going to be definitely a very, very interesting tonight. Once we get this green flag dropped, and it's going to be really from the start here, intensity.
It certainly is going to be intense. And here's another driver that also brought out his own scheme, driving in the Barbie scheme of the 19. It's Tyler Dangler, as Tyler's hoping for a good run. One of the drivers that has a chance. It's a very small chance, but if Tyler can somehow march his way into the top 20 and can sneak away with a win, he also could be additive to the playoffs with Tyler again in a must-win and has to be inside the top 20. Currently enters tonight in 23rd. So there's a little bit of work for some of the drivers out there on track, but one driver that feels the strongest has to be Thomas Green. He was extremely quick during practice, found himself second fastest there, grabbing the pole, and now hoping to take us to the green. A very good start for the 18, but Vincent Sora to the outside. He's going to be probably the major favorite as he wants to find himself in victory lane, try a better chance at solidifying for the regular season championship. But we're excited to have you all with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting as your ISRC Lara Production Truck Series enters the restart zone. The Spooky Arts Production 225 at Old Atlanta is underway. It's the 18, the 15, making the charge in turn number 1.
That was a very even start for the majority of the field, but it's going to be Thomas Green just sliding his way up to clear the 15 of Vincent Sora off the exit of 2. Thomas Green holds strong as the 2 teammates at Cochran and Sora racing race down the back straightaway, but it looks like the outside's going to prevail for now as the Sora brothers up top.
Sora brothers of Vincent Sora in the 15, leading the way on the outside groove. Number 12, Presley Sora, the older brother, going to be trying to follow suit behind them. But it's the 2 of Danny Cochran staying side by side for 3rd place. But Thomas Green, he'll take that lap lead as he continues on his surge of what a season it's been for the 18. A chance of a driver that could have won multiple times this season, but here this evening wants to take that early fresh air, which could be so critical for a race like we're going to have here at the Old Atlanta surface.
Oh, so much. The air in these trucks is so critical to have on your nose and have the clean air. And, you know, this track too especially is very much a handling track, so when the dirty air gets involved, it only makes the handling worse. And right now, you see a lot of people electing to ride on that bottom groove, and I think you're going to see a lot of people do that due to the factor of just being able to save tires. I know a lot of people qualified running up against the wall in 1 and 2, but they don't want to go up there this early. The tires will definitely be worn if you do that quickly. As we ride on board with Cedric Hunter back here in the midst of the field behind Justin Campbell, we get to see everybody ripping that white line.
Yeah, the big thing watching practice was drivers overcorrecting after burning up their tires. So they're happy to be taking notes of let's take it easy and going for a good run so far. 24 drivers were able to take the green and be on the lead lap. Justin Forbes started on pit road and finally leaving pit road now. Going to be 2 laps down for the Moore machine as we ride on board with Cedric Hunter and looking back off this Hello Kitty machine, battling with the 9 of Campbell and others, as well as Isaac Shelley to the inside groove. We're seeing the battle for this 13 as he's following in the white in red and with no number. That's going to be Michael Miller, 99 on our ticker board, as Miller is trying to find his way forward. And for Michael Miller, he's also one of those drivers that if he finds himself with a win, he could be trying to steal a place in the playoffs.
Exactly right. I mean, all it takes is one big victory. And if you're in that top 20 in points, you could be right there to be a wild card in that playoff system. So it's going to be fun to see how that shakes out by the end of the night, because Miller right now ripping that second groove, and you're going to see a lot of speed from there. He's going to get to the quarter panel drivers like he did there such with Jarrett Talmadge, and he's going to be able to make that work. The only concern for my feelings is you run that groove right there, it's a lot less rubber up there, and it's going to be much more abrasive to the tires with the speed you carry.
Atlanta, such a track in the past, I would say, before it got its new configuration of current super speedway racing. The old surface was such a driver's favorite course. I mean, I could say for a while, it was one of my favorite races just to watch. And my few times racing on iRacing, it was a blast to be on. And I'm assuming these drivers are enjoying the fact that they're back on this surface.
Oh, no doubt. And we got prime Atlanta, too, here when we talk about the Atlanta surface we have right now. This is the 2008 scandal. I mean, this was an original track on the game back in its very opening days. And this track has just always been so amazing on the sim. And we didn't even really get to see truly, what the drivers experienced in real life, all the way up to 2019 before they resurfaced this racetrack where it got completely destroyed and was very worn out. So we got prime Atlanta. We didn't get that real worn out surface that we've seen with the racing later, but I think this Atlanta right here puts on the best racing in many.
Watching drivers trying to find their way to March forward. Joshua Stovall coming off one of his best finishes last week. The 42 machine trying to carry momentum of getting away from the short tracks on the bigger courses. The 42's really shined, and here tonight being a part of that group that's in a must-win scenario. Stovall is marching forward up 2 positions from where he started, but he's getting by Danny Cochran, trying to set up to get by Vincent Sora, both willing to give up positions, it looks like, to save these tires just a little bit more.
I actually talked to those 2 drivers before the session here tonight, and they were both saying you're going to have to give up spots here tonight if you want to be able to go quick on the long run. This place, so much fall off with the tires that you actually benefit by giving up lap time and giving up positions to come back later, because you just start to fall off a cliff much later in the run if you really go out there and use up the tires. So it's going to be interesting on this first run just to see if this is exactly working out like they thought, because they were talking to me. They said that's going to be the key tonight.
Up front, taking little moments here and there to go for passes as we've seen Stovall on the outside groove going to be taking a huge run, just showing the pace that the outside groove has to show, and honestly is incredible the amount of speed you can carry through 1 and 2 on the outside middle groove. That's where we're going to be seeing a lot of built up speed, but from the flag stand you can already see the gap that's building up. Thomas Green, he was building up a gap that was almost up to a second, but that last lap, Zach, he is starting to get caught by the rest of the field.
That he is. Thomas Green definitely had the gap building up, but that last time around, he's going to be at 32.158, and you're going to have to look all the way back to around the 8th position to find a driver that ran a slower lap time. So everybody behind him quicker that latest time around, but I've also seen Green. He's been the one utilizing the top of 1 and 2. We'll see how that affects the tires as the run goes on, because you never know. Sometimes you think that the outside groove, it really hurts the tires, but sometimes it could play right into building the balance that you need if you use it at those critical points. So we'll see how that works out, because that time by, he was able to pick up the lap time back then.
Wesley Sora, who I'd say has been, one of the drivers we expected to be extremely strong in this series, just based off his iRacing experience, real-life racing experience, has proven to be a very stout race car driver. And being brother of Vincent Sora, past champion, you just assumed that he was going to be one of the major threats, but it really feels like, Zach, it's been an all-season growing of getting used to this truck, getting used to the league, and he has been hitting new marks of just true raw speed these last few weeks.
It really has been. I thought right out the gates we'd see him come in and be a factor for race wins, which he did get the win at Iowa, but really was never, a factor till it played really kind of into his hands, was just how wild that race was. I think really the race that showed his hand was Charlotte. He really started to show a lot of speed there, and I think this 12 definitely improving as the seasons went on and putting himself in a perfect position when we end this regular season to be going to fight for a championship.
And it really, last week at Charlotte, it was the qualifying that hurt the 12 from being able to fight for a win. Here tonight, qualified fourth, has been up front, stay up front, as Joshua Stovall has been trying to find a way to get to the outside quarter panel, finally going to be shipping it for a chance. But the middle of the field, it's been trying to find your own footing at the moment, as you see the looks of the drivers in the middle of the path. This is 12th place runner of going to be seeing Justin Campbell. They're watching the battle of Sipes as well as Jarrett Talmadge just inside of the top 10. And this mixture of drivers seeing similar to their teammate Thomas Green up front. Sipes willing to work that outside groove, but they're barely making any ground up at this moment. Kind of just looking like the middle of the pack. You're stalling out, and it's hard to get passes at this time.
It does seem that way, and I tell you, a driver who struggled is 13 Cedric Hunter. He drove himself all the way up to the 7th position in the 13 machine, and he's dropped back now outside of that top 12, and now is going to fall back to the 13th position. So has lost a ton of spots. Another driver who's going to give up time, the driver we're seeing on the screen, Mark Whitley, he's dropped all the way back to 16th, but I think this is more of a strategic call. We'll see if the 77 can find speed as the run continues on.
Mark Whitley, he also has shown some strength in the past here in Old Atlanta. When you look at the history of the ISRC Truck Series, kind of is jarring on the fact of how far back he is at this time. And talking about drivers and the way that it's kind of been jarring, the 67, looking at Larry Yingling in that red 67 machine, he has solidified himself 9th in points entering tonight. Just a good solid run's going to get him into the playoffs. But you look at the stats for the 67, it's been odd compared to other leagues that we watched Yingling in. He's only got one top 5, and that was at the start of the season at Daytona. Well, besides that race, he's had another 6 top 10s on top of that for a total of 7. It's just been kind of quietly in the background while everyone else has been making all the noise.
It has been so odd for him. That was a great way to put it this season because, yes, he's going to make the playoffs. It seems like he's done a good job to be consistent with his finishes, but it's just not been the Larry Yingling that we've seen before. Contend for race wins, contend for, championships, which he'll have opportunity, but still, I think he's going to be looking for more if he wants to have an opportunity, just because most of the time he's outside that top 15, just kind of picking up those scraps late into the races. Ooh, we got some drivers looking to get 3 wide there off of 4.
They certainly are trying to get Mixie up there. This is the battle for 9th place currently. It's going to be between Sipes, Campbell, Garcia. They are on top of one another. Also seeing Michael Miller and John Forbes battling for the 7th place position. Everyone getting Mixie on the passes that they're willing to make, and this is around that time that you'd see the tires fall off. Coming up to 20 laps into a run, we've been clean and green all the way through, and if we stay green to lap 30, we will continue to stay green at the stage ending, and to lap 30, our top 10 drivers will get stage bonus points. Winner of the stage gets 10 bonus points, and it falls down 1 point per position until you get down to 10th place, where they'll only get 1 bonus point. And for Michael Miller, he's trying to solidify himself in the top 20 in points and then attack for a win to be that extra driver.
I tell you what, Joshua Stovall, he's making some noise right now. That 42 closing the gap down to the leader of Thomas Green, and is continuing. I mean, he was that last time by more than 2.5 tenths faster than this 18 truck. As the 18 is starting to struggle right now, we'll see if the 42 can continue his charge. If he could go out here and win tonight, what a story and what a drive for him that would be.
I mean, Joshua Stovall has been fighting to prove that he is a driver to be a threat, wants to make this rookie campaign to just show that he has been a threat since the start. Had a couple of rough moments throughout the middle of the season, but it's been incredible to watch how Stovall has been just inching quicker and quicker and getting more and more used to this series. He's only led 7 laps this season, and that was back at the start of the season. Will we see the 42 lead his first oval lap since race 1? Well, here we go. First attempt to try to get to the inside of Thomas Green. Not able to make the move just yet, but as they continue to go back and forth, this will bring in the likes of the Sora brothers, of Presley and Vinny and Nick Crawford. So for Stovall, he needs to make this pass as quickly as possible.
This is so impressive watching lap times. Everybody in the top 8 or 9 positions. I mean, just hundreds of seconds off of each other. It is so close and consistent between this group. But like you said, Stovall needs to get around this 18 because it is bringing everybody right into the picture. Presley Sora now within 2 truck lengths of him, and Vincent Sora another 3 truck lengths back from there.
And what's hurting Stovall at this moment is the spot where he feels like he's been running the fastest is exactly where Thomas Green is running. And the tough part of catching the leader, you can get there, but when you have to change your lanes, go for a slide job move, it's so difficult to go for that little bit of an extra attempt. As it looks like for the Sora brothers, they've stayed to that white line. That's where they feel the most comfortable. It's different for the 42, so it's going to give Presley Sora, Vincent Sora an advantage here, and it's up to Stovall. Does he go low, stay high, and it looks like he'll follow in suit with Thomas Green on the outside row, and going even further up is going to be Presley Sora.
Looking to pull a Tyler Reddick there, just rip around the top of that 42 as he's going to have a nice run here off of 1 and 2 here. We'll see a look to the inside here, down the 3. Presley Sora looking strong here late into the first run of this race. And remember, lap 30, that's when we're going to pay out stage points, folks.
It's all about getting up as quickly as you can, and if you're Vincent Sora, and with the fact of John Force being back in 5th, these could give you those extra points to fight for the regular season championship. For the 15, he is behind by 12 points. This could cut that difference for the regular season championship. But if you're Joshua Stovall, this is all about holding strong, because the 42 has been going full bore go mode for the past 10 laps to catch up to Thomas Green. I think these tires might be a little bit cooked with the slight wiggles here or there off the exit of the corner.
There's definitely some slight wiggles, so to say. Is now Vincent Sora, the younger brother, going to look to the inside of older brother Presley Sora, but Sora, the older looks to the inside, and that block there from 42. This race is getting wild.
A bad bump through the front stretch and over the tri-oval. It gets a little bit tricky, and luckily able to keep themselves pointing in the right direction. Almost making contact at times, but Stovall will make contact to the outside wall. That's going to stall out some of his momentum. Soras are going to be trying to take the inside as quickly as they can. Presley confirms the pass. Thomas Green trying to put her away as we're closing in on 4 laps to go before the stage points will be divvied out. Again, no stage yellow will be thrown once they come to the end of lap 30, but if a caution does come out from this point to lap 30, that would count as a stage. So you have to attack every lap like it's the last.
That's for sure. Vincent Sora's got a lot on the line with him racing for that season title, regular season title, with John Forbes, who's back, like you said, just behind him in 5th position. So Vincent Sora liking what he's seeing right now, but he wants to get ahead of the 2 ahead of him, because the longer he races the 42 here, the less time he'll have to try to get around his brother in Thomas Green.
Thomas Green still holding strong. 3 more laps to go in the stage. Thomas Green, Presley Sora, Vincent Sora, and Stovall going to be your top 4. John Forbes looks like he is willing to be patient. Let the race come to him. The 11 might be back in 5th place, but it looks like he's more focused on the end of this stint, as these drivers can still go an extra 20 more laps even after the stage break. So tires are going to be critical as they continue on, as the 11's getting the best show of some of the great battles up front, as Stovall will hold back Vincent Sora for now with 2 more laps to go on the stage.
This is so tough to be able to make passes here late in this run like this. And you got to remember, too, no stage cautions, so these drivers got to be able to, push the lap 30 as Vincent Sora makes a big mistake. This is going to allow John Forbes to get to him.
Gets falling back in. Looking at all these drivers, the small little dings back and forth, but to the lead, you can see the white machine to the inside of Thomas Green. It's a battle on who's going to get those maximum points off the exit of turn 4. Green still a nose ahead as they start the final lap of the stage. Presley Sora has to back off. He's got to set up for another attempt coming off the backstretch.
Sora definitely a little bit quicker in this 12 machine than this 18, but it's still tough to pass there. So he's going to turn down the racetrack. Good drive up off the corner. Now going to get the nice clean side draft down the back straightaway. He's going to be a nose ahead here as they head into 3. This is going to be Presley Sora's best chance, but the 18 Thomas Green knows he needs to put it on the door and hold this driver back.
He's in the defensive line, going to be staying close. They almost make contact off the exit of the corner. Both going to be drifting and sliding, but it's Thomas Green that will take the stage win. And off the exit of turn 2, Nick Crawford had a massive slide, losing all the way down to 9th position. As the rest of the field crosses the line for the stage, it will be seeing Thomas Green with your maximum stage bonus points, and Larry Yingling going to take that 10th bonus point for himself.
Great job by Larry Yingling there to get late into the run up there, and he's flying actually right now, folks. I'm telling you, 31-1. That's about 3/10 quicker than our leaders and about 10th quicker than anybody else ahead of him. So the 67, we talked about him kind of laying in weights this season, having an odd season, so to say. This could be his best chance tonight. It looks like he's got some pace.
He's going to be attacking, trying to get by Nick Crawford. He had the slight wiggle that hurt him on the pace, and now we're starting to see pods of drivers in their actions to stay ahead, show their pure speed. The battle for the lead still going back and forth. Then we have that grouping of 4 driver, grouping of 3 being led by Stovall in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, catching up to our leaders. This is our 3rd group that we were just looking on, being led by Justin Campbell. I would say it's the 4th, 5th group that I'm mostly concerned about. 11th on back, they have been looking very on edge, and that's going to be led by the likes of Isaac Shelley, Mark Whitley, and everyone else behind them, looking a little bit crazy on the outside wall at times with the absolute loss of grip as we're 33 laps into this run.
Looks like with everybody losing that grip, they've all moved themselves and relocated up towards the top of the wall here. Just not the one to put that much will into the race car, not trying to spin this truck around coming up off the corners. As Whitley here running that bottom of 3 and 4, just can't get the power down. And look, you're going to see Shelley, he's going to just pull a gap from him. So we'll see if Whitley can continue to charge forward that he's slightly doing, but I think the saving that a few of these drivers did farther back isn't equate to what they thought.
No, they were expecting a little bit more, and a lot of those drivers that got early pace and early positioning, they have fallen back quite quickly in the last 10 laps or so. Biggest mover currently at this time of all drivers on track is actually John Forbes in the 11 machine. As you see, Ollie Fonseca, Trenton jumps, Sipes in that 80 machine, getting slightly loose off the exit of 4, and Fonseca will just follow in suit on the outside. Jump not able to really take off it, and this is actually a grouping of drivers I'm shocked on the speed they're having. Ollie Fonseca, Trenton Jump, drivers at one moment, just a few seasons ago, you'd say are championship battling contenders, now battling just to be inside of the top 15.
It's crazy how fast things can change here in iRacing, and just shows you how competitive this league is. I mean, these guys are Final Four contenders, champions of this league, and they're back here battling right in the mix of, you know, the top 15, and they would definitely tell you that they want to be farther forward, but it's just tough to do. I mean, look at everybody all in a line, and everybody's just as quick as each other is. You just got to try to find your way around them, and even for Fonseca, I know this is going to hurt him because this track was one of his better tracks here, too, in the past.
It absolutely was. Back in season 4, he actually got the pole and led the most laps that race, led 90 of 150 laps, but that was 3 seasons ago. It's been a very different story this season as Ollie is 21st in points. And again, he needs to win this race here tonight. Due to the fact of Dakota Moniz not showing up, that automatically give birth to this 24 machine if he can find himself in the victory lane, which at this rate might need a couple of cautions of help if that's going to be the case. As been watching some of the great battling further on back, up front, top 5, all on top of one another within a half a second of each other. John Forbes, Stovall, Sora, they've entered the fray. It's no longer just a duel between Green and Presley Sora. It's a full-out fight.
That's for sure. I mean, Green has just been so good at just not making enough mistakes to allow these guys to get by. Sora in the 12 machine has been the quickest truck. He has just not been able to find his way around. The 15 of Vincent Sora, also the younger brother of Presley, I think he's got a very, very quick truck. It's just passing on that bottom side is very tough to do. And right now, these drivers with no rear grip, they're just going to have to slowly, methodically work. But look at Presley Sora. He's working that wheel.
He is honestly one of the first drivers to hit the apex where he feels like it's first place crank that wheel down. We were almost stacked 4 wide through 3 and 4, all 4 lanes, and you don't see that very often. We're being utilized from the wall all the way down to that white line. We'll see if it's used once again, but it's our top 4 that are giving us the great show. Stovall trying to give a big bump to the 12 machine, help at any advantage into the corner. At this current moment, it's Thomas Green who's been up front, our pole sitter, continuing to lead lap after lap. But as we start lap 40, Zach, this is the time to start thinking, when do you pit? Because we've already had 2 drivers make the call to make an early pit stop. Nick Crawford, Jared Talmadge just coming into pit road within the last 2 laps. But up front, they continue to fight back and forth. I don't know if they're even thinking about pitting here anytime soon.
Yeah, I would think they would want to stretch this out to about 50. You know, at least split this race up into thirds, you know, so you can make it a 2-stopper. But maybe Crawford and them just feeling the drop-off is too much here, and they're going to need a little help from that. So we'll see how that shakes out. But again, this top 5, I don't think any of them flinch till about lap 50.
I mean, right now, if you look at the best drivers that are up front, from their last lap to their best lap that they put down throughout this race, it's over 2-second difference. And that's usually a sign of when it's time to go to pit road. As Thomas Green almost thrown away the race off the exit of turn 2. Big wiggle for our leader. He'll hold on for now. Other drivers further on back having big wiggles. One of those being Ollie Fonseca in the 24. Massive loss of time off the exit of turn 2 as he puts himself into the outside wall. And for this field, those tires are gone, and we're within 10 laps of when you're going to be expecting pit road to be calling.
Like, yeah, definitely going to be very close to that time. But I think Presley Sora, he's going to get it done here off of 2. Less than 18 can have a big enough run and cut down. He will cut down here on the exit. But the 12, more importantly, going to now have control of this race by being on the outside. He cannot let the 18 pull a slide job on him as the 18 tries to get it done. He's going to get back to the gas, but the 12 is there. Presley Sora in control of this race now.
And both drivers were trying every defensive lane that they could do going into turn number 3. It looked like for Green, he was trying to push the 12 up a little bit higher, but the 12 was trying to push the 18 even lower. Almost caught that, but to keep it dueling side by side. Stovall as well as Vincent Sora now going to be trying their attempts on where to attack as our leader is still side by side, but we're right on board with the 42. Joshua Stovall, he'll now give a chance to go for second place as he goes to the inside of Thomas Green.
He almost had no choice to do that as Green closes that door there. Of course, he's going to defend that outside. The 42 takes the run he has, dives to the inside, and let's see if he can get past Thomas Green now. But if you're Vincent Sora, this is what you're looking for. You're trying to get to the 42's quarter panel and take advantage of him getting to the inside of the 18.
If you're Vincent Sora, you would love to get closer to that outside wall and just carry the momentum for a better chance to attack. But it looks like instead they're going to be going 2-3 wide because here comes the driver that's 1 lap down. Nick Crawford with fresh tires is going to be adding into the mix. He'll throw it to the inside, and there's the difference of speed with fresh tires to old. Crawford has unlapped himself, and he's now on attack mode to try to run down this group before they go into pit road in the next 5 laps.
Key for Crawford, like you said, get back onto the lead lap, and that's what he'll do there. He's got around Presley Sora. Jared Talmadge is going to be a good bit farther back, still trying to find his way forward, but it's still stacked up as man, oh man, Green up into the outside walls. They're side by side all around as Campbell has now brought himself into the battle.
From the lead back to 6th place, and Justin Campbell, where did you come from? The 9 is flying right now. 3 wide, going to be for the battling right now at this moment for 3rd place. Presley Sora just pulling away, but Justin Campbell, he'll take 1 spot, almost takes 2. Thomas Green heads to pit road on lap 45.
Even the group behind him, Cochran has got some heavy hitters behind him because he's got the likes of the Jared Talmadge going through. You also got the likes of Isaac Shelley coming up here quickly. Larry Yingling just got passed by Danny Cochran, so this group's switching battles all around as it's been a great battle so far here at Atlanta.
It is choose your own poison. Who's been saving, who's been on full bore, and all of that chaos with having the drivers with fresh tires getting on by. It has really stalled out some of these battles 3 wide as Talmadge is going to be forcing them to be. The 961 stays low. Forbes trying to get to that quarter panel if he could slow down. 61 not able to do so. But huge moments there, Zach. That was shocking to see, at least for Justin Campbell. It felt like he just came out of nowhere to catch up to our top 5.
He did such a great job there, Sam. I tell you what, the big thing for me too is it looked like moments there, you know, the 42, the 11, they were stacked up on the outside of him. So it looked like he was really just going to hold on to the 5th position and just be kind of behind him. but he drives it off in the one, clears both of them, and just kind of sets self in there. So that just tells me he's got a lot of front turn in that race truck and is definitely getting through the corner. Good as I say that, he gets up to the outside wall, makes a mistake. This is going to be a big one from the drivers behind him. We'll see how he defends it, but right now, that gap growing to the leaders up ahead.
Stovall goes to the inside groove. John Forbes will follow Stovall to try to get by the 9, but neither one of them really having the grip to push their way forward. Forbes stays even lower. They're almost a stack 3 wide off the exit, as going to be Justin Campbell holding on for 3rd place. But again, we're within 2 to 3 laps of pit road calling for the majority of this front pack. Still 20 drivers yet to come into pit road. It's Mark Morales Jr. back in 20th. It's going to be that last driver that we're expecting to make a stop. But up front, Presley Sora, Vincent Sora, the brothers are now going to be challenging for the lead, because this is the closest Vinny's been most of this race, and it's for the lead position. The question now for the 15 is, do I try to attempt to pass, or do I wait until this pit stop to make my charge to make this pass for himself?
That's so critical, Sam, because yeah, if you go battle your brother right now, the thing is, if you feel like your brother is holding you up there, you got to go for the pass. But if you feel like he's still making good enough pace to kind of gap the guys behind you, I think you wait till the pit stop, because if you get side by side here before we go to pit road, that is only going to create problems and bring that grouping of Campbell, Stovall, Forbes right back into that mixture. And you do, I mean, anytime you can gain, you want to take it over a long green race like this has been so far.
And looking at drivers that have yet to hit pit road, as it looks like Joshua Stovall will make his stop currently for himself. His drivers are going about 165 miles per hour. They're going to slow down to 50 miles per hour for pit road. But of those that have already pitted, Nick Crawford, part of that early grouping of drivers, and the 74 is looked to be over a second ahead over Thomas Green, who they were battling for that lead position. Green is showing some great pace as he's about to unlap himself, but Zach, the huge gap that some of these drivers are making with pitting early, I think Nick Crawford, who went with the 3-stop, might be in the better decision there with the speed I'm seeing.
We'll have to see as we bring up Nick's camera here to check out Spider-Man as he's on the alternate strategy, so to say, here for these drivers. And yeah, we're going to have to see how the 3-stop works compared to that 2-stopper, because, I mean, the fall off is massive. We're looking at over 2 seconds of fall off, and that fall off happens pretty quickly. You get about to that 2-second mark around lap 20. So from lap 20 on all the way to 52, where these drivers are now, all of our leaders are coming to pit road and pitting, you're losing 2 seconds of lap time every single lap around. So it's a huge mistake. Isaac Shelley, mistake from him. He goes around on the entry of pit road.
Trying to get in a pit stall as quickly as you can, but he's not able to, and actually has to take a tow, and he blinks for a quick moment, forcing drivers to make evasive maneuvers, hurting the likes of Ollie Fonseca and a few others as pit stops were underway. Still waiting for going to be Trenton Jump and Joshua Freed to make their stop for the first time here tonight. But what a bizarre moment for Shelley that just was making a simple pit road entry, save for Jump there. Everyone having trouble to slow down and get to that pit entry is Freed. Probably has one of the cleaner looking ones of all the drivers.
Very, very sketchy moment getting into pit road. There's no grip on this place. The apron, the track, the pit road surface, everywhere is low grip for sure. And right now we're looking at Nick Crawford as he's going to now transition to the lead position. And I tell you what, Sam, we'll get to see how big this gap is now, and if this 3-stop strategy is the way to go. It's going to be really interesting, I think, with alternate strategies like this.
The weather has been crazy. It's been wild, and we'll take a look at what the weather looks like. We do, though, have a penalty of a driver that had to stay in pit road longer. Ollie Fonseca had to stay extra on pit road, but weather is being shown. It's a pretty nice day out as it's 80 degrees air temperature. The track temp has been the more shocking thing to watch out for. Zach, it has been cooling off pretty quickly from practice, qualifying, from also the warm-up to now. It has dropped over 25 degrees. So these drivers, just from practice to race currently, it has been a dramatic change.
It really has been a dramatic change. And you can even see the shadows on the billboards in 1 and 2. I think that's where you can see a lot of it. Those shadows will grow as the day continues on, and that corner will cool down much, much more than 3 and 4. So very interesting to see how that's all shaken out. But right now, Crawford only about 5 seconds ahead of Thomas Green. That's a little bit of a interesting moment for me, but Thomas did pit earlier than other drivers. He didn't wait that long time like Presley Sora and them, I don't even think Thomas Green personally will still be able to, make a two-stop strategy work for him, because really about 52, 53 laps is about all you can do.
Yeah, Thomas Green is stuck in that weird middle ground that you never want to be, stuck between one strategy and the other, because you're not able to audible back to the two-stop. You're forced to the three-stop, and at this time should catch up to Nick Crawford. And the question is, could Thomas Green have enough time to run down the rest of the field? As for Thomas Green, he's about 2-3 laps away from taking back this lead. Nick Crawford is already fallen off to a 33.2 second lap time, which was that 2 seconds off your fastest lap window that the drivers were on for about 20 laps to 30 laps on our last run.
Exactly right. Yeah, you kind of just get to that lap time and kind of just hold there. So it's going to see that delta between, Presley Sora, Joshua Stovall, a lot of these drivers who pitted way later. You're going to see that thing dropping dramatically quick. So, it might be 10 seconds right now, but that 10 seconds will dissipate no matter about 5 laps.
Ali Fonseca, you just saw on the top right, fastest lap of the race. But Zach, it's such a disheartening fastest lap of the race. He's driving with frustration. The 24 was influenced by that Isaac Shalley spin that it hurt him, getting a black flag penalty on pit road that forced the 24 to stay. And it's frustrating because of that hold, he's 2 laps down and he needs multiple cautions to get back out there. Here's your Tyler Dangler cam as the Barbie machine is having his own duel. This for 15th place as he's trying to hold back the likes of Joshua Kanata as Kanata makes the best and the move. Looking at points, Joshua Kanata needs to make sure he's inside of the top 10, and also he needs to make sure Danny Cochran is not more than 3 positions ahead of the 16. Kanata and Danny Cochran, will be the battle of who's making it to the playoffs or not.
That's exactly right. Yeah, Kanata, not getting the stage points there, now being 15th. He's in a position where he needs to go up there and get spots before this race is over. And, I think his help would be that the likes of some of these guys on the 3-stop strategy would, preferably beat Cochran and put, people in between him and Cochran scoring more points. But we'll get to see. I mean, this is going to be very close for these final positions. And whenever the points are uploaded, it's going to be, I think, single digits separating some of these drivers.
It's going to be extremely close. Again, we will wait for the admins to give us the official confirmation on the points. Because of how large of a deficit some of those points were being in the different scenarios, we're not able to give you the live point standings on who's in or out. We can tell you who's in a must-win scenario, but the actual point in or out between Joshua Kanata and Danny Cochran, that one will have to wait until this race is over. As seeing the changeup of guards to the lead position goes Thomas Green over Nick Crawford. A very easy, simple move. Other drivers that know you got to watch out for is got to be Joshua Stovall, still ahead of Presley Sora for 3rd position. I got to say, that's an impressive run. He did pit 2 laps sooner than Presley Sora, so that gave the advantage to the 42, but currently trying to go with a defensive move to hold back this 12. But it looks like it might be for Noel, as Presley Sora's fresher tires allows him to get side by side off the XO2.
This could make Presley have to use a little bit more maybe than he wants. And ever since they came out of pit road, Presley Sora has been a little bit quicker than Vince Sora and John Forbes, so I'm wondering if the 15 and 11 trying to save a little bit for a later run charge on the 12. But how quick we saw the 12 was earlier, he was just kind of getting held up by Thomas Green. I wonder if this run here with him just having nothing really to hold him back, will he be able to stretch his legs a little bit, or will we see his younger brother and John Forbes close him down?
Well, it's all about the chase. It's all about the rundown, as we will take a short break here this evening. I want to say thank you to everyone that's been joining with us here tonight. You're watching the ISRC Larry R Productions Truck Series Season 7, the last race of the regular season for the Spooky Arts Productions 225 at the Old Atlanta. Again, thank you for joining with us. We'll be back right after this with more racing action. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Caution breaking out in the middle of this race. But it looked to be maybe a malfunction on equipment, hurting Justin Forbes as he came to a stop, just about to be at pit road entry, but enough on track to throw out a yellow. A highly unfortunate circumstance to happen, but it was right in the middle of this pit cycle, concluding. And right around the corner from having our drivers are going for the 3-stop to pit in the next 10 to 15 laps. That throws it out the window. We're now almost halfway in this race, and we're stuck in an odd spot where this race is now a 1-stop from here. The question is, when do you want to make that stop? Thank you for joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me at the booth is Zach Hall. And Zach, an odd situation for Justin Forbes, but it opens up the race for everyone else that's out there on track.
That it does. You know, we had some interesting moments there with the strategies playing out to see how those were all going to shake out when it comes to will the 2-stop beat the 3-stop in the overall long scheme of things. But now we're going to get to see a good old-fashioned 1-stopper here, and a lot of drivers, I think, especially like Nick Crawford, you have to be very happy that that happened. You know, right now, if that would happen 4 or 5 laps from now, he probably would have already been on pit road at that point, and that would have been a huge problem for him because he would have most likely been 1 lap down to the field, and that's a tough position definitely to come back from. So that caution kind of saving some of the 2-stoppers there, or sorry, the 3-stoppers, because that timing could have been terrible if it was a little bit longer.
And certainly one driver, though, that really is loving the fact of this caution, Ollie Fonseca, as he currently leads up front, but will be taking a wave around to be on the lead lap. Unfortunately, he'll be over 18-lap-old tires, so Ollie Fonseca is going to need a quick turnaround on a caution flag as the rest of the field, 4 tires in fuel. A couple of drivers taking some repairs for themselves, one being Isaac Shelley, who had his spin out on the pit road entry. Another driver, Mark Whitley in the 77, stayed in pit road for almost up to a minute. And I think that could be one of the reasons why Mark Whitley has been not looking as strong here this evening. 77 might have been had a little bit of side damage that he finally was able to get repaired.
Definitely was a longer pit stop for sure there. So didn't see exactly anything that was, you know, so to say, messed up in that truck when it came to damage, but maybe had a little bit of hidden damage. Sometimes you can get those things where we can't see it, but the drivers can. So we'll see if he definitely has more pace now in that 77 truck. The only thing is now we're going to have to restart back in 20th.
And with Justin Forbes bringing out this caution here tonight, going to be our first one of the night. And we'll call it an evening. We also have lost Jesse Thornock much earlier in the race within the first 7 laps of tonight. But we're waiting and seeing how things are going to go. But just got a report from Brentley, who is spotting for Mark Whitley. We had some wheel damage. So getting that damage repaired, so critical, especially on a track where you want to make sure you've got complete control of a very out-of-control vehicle. As up front, Thomas Green, Presley Sora are going to be your front contenders to watch out for. And this race is now transformed from a different strategy field of, do you want to go with the 2-stop or the 3-stop strategy? Now it's a 1-stop. The question is, when do you want to make that final stop of the race? Pace car goes into pit road. It's Green. It's Presley Sora as the Spooky Arts Production 225 is underway, and Thomas Green getting the good launch for himself as everyone else side by side through 1 and 2.
I tell you what, the rest of the field is definitely saying, oh man, Green back up front again. He was so tough to get around for that first opening, really 40 laps of this race. So we'll see now if these drivers have found a better way to get around the 18, or will he be once again leading the way. But John Forbes found his way to 3rd, but Presley Sora, I think he knows he needs to use these new tires to get around this 18. Doesn't want to be stuck racing him late in the run like last time.
And John Forbes had similar action to Presley Sora from last week. Didn't qualify well, was basically going to be all race, trying to build back up and be up front. But now for John Forbes, that middle of the race caution has sent him into his position where most Swedish driver this season is on go mode in 3rd place. Presley Sora trying to go high, low, anywhere he can go. Can't get to that outside row lane just quick enough. Instead, Thomas Green waits until the very last moment to duck down. Great defensive move by the 18, but Sora willing to fight back on the front stretch.
Got to give credit for definitely the 18 of Thomas Green. His defensive maneuvers tonight have been actually spectacular. He's held back drivers much longer than he probably should have, and done it in a clean way too. Hasn't really like used anybody up, hasn't thrown any egregious blocks. It's just been great positioning of the truck in the 18. Continue to do that now, but Presley Sora, the driver who's looking to be in control of this race, wants to get back out front.
Up front, the drivers continue to fight back and forth, and for John Ford, biggest mover of the race driver right now. A couple of other drivers that have been pretty close up front. Sipes as well as Trent Jump battling for 10th place. They're trying to stay attached to this front group, and also in this front group, the two Danny Cochran, who was trying to be the stealer of getting his way into the playoffs over Joshua Kanata. Danny Cochran is slowly trying to make his way forward after giving up so much time early on. Qualified third, but ever since qualifying, he's been on the downhill slope going backwards.
He really has. It's been kind of a head scratcher for me. I felt like this has been one of his better racetracks in the past. We know he won here last time we were here with ISRC. Yes, that was plenty of seasons ago, but this track's characteristics haven't changed too much, especially the way the trucks are driving. I think it's just the competition is that stiff here tonight that everybody just that close. You get a little bit off in the run, it messes you up, and we'll see if Cochran can maybe make those changes to be better in this run here with everybody grouped back up.
Cochran in the purple, you can see that bright green further on back. That's going to be Joshua Kanata, who was the driver of note that we thought was going to be getting an easy, not the easiest way to get in, but one of the easier paths to make it into the playoffs. Cody Reed not showing up here tonight to be that 12th driver to make the playoffs just based off of points, and Kanata still needs a lot of work. He has to find a way to get over 26 points to get past Cody Reed, who's not here, and as well on top of that, he needs to make sure that he's ahead of Danny Cochran, who is just simply 8 points behind the 16. But Danny Cochran was up front battling close to those stage bonus points. Cochran was ahead of Kanata, he was not. So these drivers, that battle is a lot closer than it should. We'll see if Kanata and Danny Cochran, the fight for who can point their way in, is going to be the big one to watch out for.
No doubt. I think if you're Kanata, the ball is in your court. You now have to take that ball and run with it and try to, make the separation between you and Cochran as little as possible, and just be in his mirror, at least in his relative, to make you think, hey, this guy's pressuring me, and you never know, that might push the two into maybe making a few mistakes. So the 16, I think, doing a better job now after that caution of being a little bit closer and, only being back in 13th compared to the 2 and 9th.
I also have an update, as tonight again was Spooky Night, and whenever it's a Larry Art Productions sponsored race, there's usually a theme behind it, and Larry Art Productions likes to pick out who his favorite scheme of the race is, and usually makes the decision by the stage. And his choice, a driver that had a little bit of a mistake during those green flag pit stop, in 22nd position, picking the 71 of Isaac Shelley in the Boom Machine. That will be your clean scheme and your winner of the spooky scheme of the night. So congratulations. It's simple, it's clean, but Zach, I mean, it's just like having a ghost little sheet costume. It does the job.
That is, hey, simplicity sometimes wins out in the end. And I think that's what Larry went with tonight. But again, shout out to Larry Art Productions for all the work they do here at, ISRC and all the other leagues too. They such a great supporter, and very cool to see all these different paint schemes and Isaac Shelley getting something done. But we got a battle for the lead, guys.
We do, and trouble for Presley Sora. Contact with Thomas Green. Huge save by the 12. He'll keep his foot in the throttle, but a massive slide from the lead position back to 6th, potentially back to 7th. And Thomas and Green's biggest competition is now in a big hold up and wait moment, because that was a massive slide and those tires are not happy. But the lead position isn't safe just yet, because it's Joshua Stovall on the outside. Huge run for the 42 to go after Green.
Man, oh man, Stovall trying to take advantage of this situation. Same with John Forbes. He sees the advantage. Look at Larry Yingling. He's driving around his teammate Vincent Sora up here into the mix. This is getting wild, folks. Stovall now to the lead, and the caution's out.
Justin Sipe goes around. Kanata's involved. Kanata's involved. Mark Whitley's involved. And oh no, the playoff hopes could be gone for Kanata. Kanata with this spin.
Oh man, guys, I tell you what, we'll have to see how that all looked out, but I think it was the 80 involved with, I believe it might have been the 9 of Justin Campbell. Yes, it was the 9 of Justin Campbell right in front of him, and I think it was a little bit of the 80 kind of maybe turned himself off the nose of an 8 here, or 9 here.
We'll see here from this position. You can see him try to cut down. Thought he was clear to get in between. Was not able to. Almost had a blowover incident. Not just once, but twice. And then coming back up on track. And Joshua Kanata just missed timing where the 80 was going to go. And with all the smoke that was going on with sliding across the track, it's so hard to predict where a driver is going to be in hard contact. In Joshua Kanata, Tyler Dangler, both with required damage as we take another look at this incident from high above. And Zach, I mean, it's one of those calls where you hope that you're clear, but he just wasn't.
Yeah, he just wasn't. This will give a better view of it here. You see the 9 to the inside, and the 9 kind of running the line that you would, and I think the 80 was thinking he was going to be a little lower, turns himself across the nose, and then right there, Kanata, unfortunate decision making there. And the real big case that came down for him is if Kanata just jumps on the brake and jabs the brake when he sees all that happen, he literally had Mark Whitley right behind him. I mean, he probably gets wrecked off the front end of the 77. So Kanata is in such a tough spot here with the driver right up behind him and seeing this wrecking all happen in front of him. And like you said, huge playoff implications here with this.
As we right on the nose of Joshua Kanata, get a sense of what he's like. He's trying to watch the group ahead, hit his marks, and then kind of see continue to run. There's the smoke. Usually you think a driver's going to stay high, tries to go up in such an awkward position. At the time that you realize that driver's coming back up on the track, you don't have time to throw it down low because you're going to be throwing yourself into the grass where you could be involved with more damage than what you're going to be grabbing here.
Exactly. I mean, it was too late by then, and his destiny was already set. I think the lucky thing for him is the required damage didn't seem to be too long. It seems like the meatball flag is gone, but that truck destroyed when it comes to the nose, and I could see the left front tire definitely not set well with the suspension. So I think this is going to be tough for Kanata to come back from, and going to be going most likely a lap down here around this time.
Yeah, most likely, as well as the 19 of Tyler Dangler required damage. His race looks to be done. Looking at the driver cam, he has walked away from his session knowing that he's got heavy front end damage, might have even blown an engine. So for Tyler Dangler, who was in one of those spots of if he had somehow gotten into the top 20 and then found a way to get into victory lane, could have snuck his way as an additive driver into the playoffs, but not going to be the case here this evening. And talked about one driver needing a quick caution. Zach Ollie Fonseca gets that caution. He's on the lead lap, has fresh tires, and he's part of a large group of drivers that just pitted for freshies from 6th all the way down to 21st. Drivers taking tires, fuel. Watch out, because our top 5 are going to be Presley Soar, Justin Campbell, Jared Talmadge, Eric Stamp, Isaac Shelley. They're on 17 lap-old tires. We're about to see some chaos.
That we are. Also, Presley Soar, remember, had that big slide, and I went back and watched that too. Huge net code between those two. That it was like one of those giant kicking forces that just sent the 12 around. So tough break between those two. But we'll see now, how do the older tires fare with the fresh tires behind.
And even in our chat, people know at this point, Presley Sora, Vincent Sora, they've had net code issues around those vehicles, so no surprise that it happens at least once here tonight. We'll see if it happens again. It's time for some very close, high-octane driving action as we are green again for the Spooky Arts Production 225 here in Old Atlanta, and drivers are trying to get themselves rolling, but it looks like it's trouble. It's a wreck. It's a big one. They're all scattering, and this is the madness of a last race. Someone wheel spun, and it went wrong for everyone.
Man, oh man, I think this is going to be the 53 of Eric Stamp, guys, and this is going to be an easy mistake to make on super old tires like this. And I mean, some big contenders taken out in this, and even the likes of Danny Cochran involved. That's going to be maybe a playoff implication. So Kanata, opportunity still right here.
It certainly is. Kanata's still in the fight, but required damage. Danny Cochran, Jared Talmadge, Justin Stipes, fan favorite of Joshua Stovall, as they all just pile in. And that's the case of old tires to new. And I mean, these drivers on new tires are already wanting to wheel spin. And I'm curious if we could do a ride-in and listen to the 53, because I got a feeling if you're wheel spinning that bad, it was Eric Stape in first gear, because it feels impossible to drive in first gear on fresh tires. Looks like that RPM is pretty low. I'm guessing he's in second. There's just the old tires didn't want to take off and go.
And, a lot of times what happens is it's late spin right before the shift. That's what happens usually with these older tires, because you're going so slow speed that it kind of the gear kind of lugs its way up and it's just bogging. And then all of a sudden, as you get the power, as you get higher into the RPM and the power band of the motor, that's when the wheels start to spin up. And it was just a late wheel spin incident there, and happens all the time when you see Atlanta here, especially when you stay out on these older tires. And man, oh man, John Forbes going for 4 in a row just gets caught up in this mess.
As you see here from another blimp view, the chaos from row number 2, as I think the building might cover it off, but one driver that sneaks away is going to be the winning scheme. It's the boom machine. Isaac Shelley sneaks his way by, but Trenton Jump muscling his way through. Samuel Garcia, who also could find a way to steal some major points, and if he finds himself in victory lane, could be a driver to make the playoffs. But a lot of heavy contenders that we thought had absolute, as long as they stayed out of trouble, chances to make it into the playoffs. Joshua Kanata, Danny Cochran, both here tonight have gotten required damage flags at some point this evening. Joshua Kanata is still 1 lap down. Danny Cochran trying to stay out as long as possible. But the 2 machine sits in pit road and waits for his fate. Will the 2 be able to stay on the lead lap? And will Samuel Garcia, who now runs 4th with some of the freshest tires, the 50 machine, Zach, could be the stealer of that playoff points position?
He really could be. This is, the underdog in those 3 that came in tonight for sure. If you said, hey, you got Danny Cochran, Joshua Kanata, and Samuel Garcia fighting for 1 spot, you're going to definitely have arguments for the 2 in the 16 truck. But the 50 here, with the excellent job of missing the incidents, being in the right place at the right time, might be able to be the driver that puts himself into the playoffs. And what a story that would be. That the growth for that driver has been fantastic.
Samuel Garcia, Rookie of the Year award winner last season, and it's just been growing as a driver each and every week. It's been a pleasure to watch. And entering tonight for Garcia, he's had 3 top 10 finishes. What a way of a shocker here tonight. But for Garcia, for him to make his way in, he would need to make sure that he finishes inside of the top 3. Top 2, excuse me. And then also needs to see our top, that of Danny Cochran and Joshua Kanata, finish outside of the top 20. Currently, Kanata runs in 20th. Danny Cochran runs in 18th. Those are promising spots for the 50 machine. But if Samuel Garcia wins, that also would bounce him into the playoffs. So there are a lot of different factors up there in the air. We won't know for sure until we find ourselves at the end of this race. As we've been already shown now, that big one changes everything for the rest of this race.
Oh, it really, really does. And, here also lap 93 of 150. Nobody within the range, in my opinion, to make it on fuel. It would be a stretch. I mean, we saw, I think Trenton Jump stretched out to 53, maybe even 54 on that first run. You would need to stretch it about 57 laps this time to be able to get it done. We'll see if someone tries it. I see the likes of some people topping off, especially some trucks that are completely clean, such as the 13th Cedric Hunter. You see him exit pit road. He just came down, topped off. We'll see. Maybe a fuel strategy could be the way to go here for that 13 truck, but it's still an interesting opportunity now too, because Presley Sora is still the only driver on old tires.
He's on 22 lap old tires. He's got some help with the extra pace laps that has cooled them down, so should be in a little bit more of a easier position. But watch out for that 12 here on this initial start. Everyone else, fresh tires, hoping for a good takeoff. Jared Talmadge still stays in pit road, same for Tyler Dangler. Danny Cochran is on the lead lap after getting his repairs done. And we are back to green flag racing. A little bit of a stall out in the middle of the pack on the inside row, but they continue to stay green. But up front, it's Presley Sora, Larry Yingling, Vincent Sora, Samuel Garcia, your top 4. And guess who? Ollie Fonseca is inside of our top 5 to 24, is in the fight as he's going to be watching all the chaos behind them. They're 2-3 wide, and I think, Zach, right now, drivers are trying to assess what speed is left after being involved in the big one.
That's for sure. I think everybody's filling it out, but it's 4 wide back there around Mark Whitley in the 77 machine. We'll race for the lead up here, but it was all crazy as the 77 is going backwards. The 71 Isaac Shelley pushing the 9. Everybody going for it. We're going to get another yellow here possible.
I mean, I thought for a second for sure we were going to see Trenton Jump run into Mark Whitley, but somehow they skated their way around and clean at this moment. Drivers are trying to slow down, but they're 2-3 wide, and you're seeing the major difference of those that are damaged that thought they got the repairs done, are able to fight, compared to those that just don't have anything to show for. As there's the 71 Boom Machine on the outside with Joshua Freed. They're battling from 6th on back. This is the cluster of drivers that at one moment were battling outside of our top 15. Now with a chance for a top 5, maybe even a top 10 finish, as Presley Sora, those old tires are showing. The 12 stays high, and now everyone's gonna have a free pass, at least the one driver, as we continue to stay green.
He's doing a great job to hold on for now, but as the tires heat up, they're going to really start to show their age. As now the 12 getting passed by the likes of Fonseca. Next, it'll be Justin Campbell, Joshua Freed. And what Presley needs is this run to go decently about 15-20 laps, because then it puts everybody else in a position where, yeah, they might want to pit, but do they use a set of tires?
That's the big thing. Set of tires. These drivers only had 4 extra set of tires in pit road to work with, and some have already used 3 sets on this race and have 1 more to go before the night's done. This is that question mark. Trenton Jump trying to force the 71 high. Use the 12 as a pick, and Jump is utilizing Presley Sora perfectly. John Force trying to find an opening. They're going to be a stack 3 wide behind this 12 machine of Sora, and Sora, he's just running his own lane on the outside group, but everyone else behind him is trying to find a way to get by the 12 cleanly without just running him over.
It's tough because the 12 just at a loss for grip, and Presley Sora, I mean, one of the probably the fastest truck here tonight so far. And he is just dropping back here because that's just the tire disadvantage. And that's what we love to see in stock car racing. When the tires matter, it really makes the strategy that much more important. And now the 12 going to find some clean gap here now, back to Nick Crawford in that 12th position. And it's going to be an interesting, timing, because will the 12 be able to get his way back up there with the extra set of tires at some point?
Trying to fight his way forward. Danny Cochran, update on the 2 machine. If he just wants to get in based off of true points, top 10 finish is what he needs. He runs 18th currently. Trent Jump starting to blink a little bit, so that could be another free position. Samuel Garcia, on the other hand, is in a spot where he runs now. He would need to have to get a bonus point to at least tie Cody Reed. He would need 2 bonus points and finish where he's at now, and he would steal a spot into the playoffs. It is wide open for Samuel Garcia, who runs in 3rd, and if you're Vincent Sora and Larry Yingling, you're trying to pull away, but the battle for 3rd place is on, because Ollie Fonseca, who entered tonight 21st in points. Dakota Moniz missed out on tonight's race. If the 24 wins, he could be battling and having a chance to make the playoffs.
I mean, the possibilities and scenarios are full here tonight. And if you're Fonseca, it's win or nothing. I mean, he's got nothing to lose. And when you give Ollie Fonseca nothing to lose, he's going to be willing to risk it. So if he gets any shot, any chance, any door opening, he's going to take advantage of it.
As Ollie Fonseca will just linger in 4th currently, as Dakota Moniz will hope to take provisionals here tonight. So that's going to put Ollie Fonseca where he needs to win. And then that should be enough points, because the provisionals being all the way down to the last driver that would finish here tonight. That's the provisional points that'll be given out. So for Dakota Moniz, he's going to get whatever Jesse Thornock gets. But if you're any of the drivers up front, you know it is full bore go time. But like we noted on, the fuel is going to be very close if you could somehow save enough. And you look at past races here at Old Atlanta, it was Eric Stamp who caused the big one here tonight, but had the fuel back in season 2 to take the fuel run further than anyone. could tonight be a race based off of fuel mileage, and if one of those drivers is going to be the key, it could be the 13 of Cedric Hunter, who lines up 13th currently, hoping for the numbers to align for himself. As other drivers, pit road will call. The question is, when do you make that final pit stop?
That's very, very true. And, you know, I mean, if you're likes of Cedric Hunter or someone like that who wants to run that strategy, you got to worry too that, hey, I mean, this place has so much fall off that they might be able to actually run me down. So you still got to make somewhat competitive lap times and try to make the fuel stretch. We'll see if those drivers try to do it. But I think you're also going to see the likes of, you know, Larry Yingling and Vincent Sawyer here try to actually stretch this out to about 120 before they even decide to even think about pit road. You know, you're going to want to get below 30 to go before you ever decide to come down, because you're waiting to see if that yellow flag will fly.
And if you're Larry Yingling and Vincent Sora, you've already taken 3 sets of tires here tonight. You only have 1 more set before this race is over. When do you want to take that final set? Because that could be critical also, as a lot of the rest of the field, they also just have 1 more set before this race is done. There's only a few drivers that have 2 sets of tires left, and one of those being Vincent Sora's brother, Presley Sora, in 15th place. A caution or a timing of a yellow would put the 12 in a masterful spot.
It really would. And you know, if I'm Presley Sawyer here too, you know, you're now in the window to make it to the end of this race. He has those 2 extra sets of tires. He's just losing time right now. He's about 6 seconds back from the lead battle right here between Larry Yingling and Vincent Sawyer. He's only losing more and more time each and every lap we go around here. If he was to decide to pit here, if he could just at least get back to the lead lap, he could cycle to the lead if we catch a yellow later, or be in the prime position with just the right strategy. I mean, we'll have to see if he takes advantage of it, but having those 2 extra sets will give him a little bit more leeway, where the likes of Yingling, Sora, Campbell, others are going to wait to pit much later into this run. And as I say that, Presley Sora on the pit road.
Presley Sora into pit road. I was curious on how many more laps he was willing to stay out. He's found that magic window where it is time to pit. Our leaders are running about 1.5 seconds slower than their best time. So this is around that window where you're really going to be maximizing getting fresh tires at this moment, compared to those that maybe wait a few more laps. As we see Presley Sora, his goal is now just get back onto the lead lap for himself. But if you're looking at other drivers throughout the field, watch out for number 18 in fifth position. That will be Thomas Green, Zach Arpulsitter. He has some of the freshest tires of anyone out there on track, and he is rolling on the top once again.
That he is. Thomas Green definitely rolling very well, and you know, like say him and Justin Campbell on some of the freshest tires. I like what Thomas Green is doing right here for sure, especially, you know, right in the mix of everybody here with Samuel Garcia, the 99 of Michael Miller. You got Trenton Jump there, John Forbes coming into the picture, Joshua Fareed. But you got Justin Campbell, who I think is going to be the biggest threat to our top 2 right now. That 9, very strong on the end of that first run. We'll see if he can continue to do that. So he's just ripping the wall right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of those things of how did you protect your tires on the first run and compared to this run? How did other drivers take in that knowledge and notes from our first stint to now on how to be more efficient on your tires and save them later on? Justin Campbell, it looks like he just does not want to lose touch to our top 2 as they continue to put heater after heater on fastest laps. Is Larry Yingling and Vincent Sora, and Yingling leading this race. I mean, we were talking about the fact that he was such a quiet driver, never really showed winning pace. The only time we've seen the 67 up front was at the first race of the season. What a momentum shift we're seeing from Larry Yingling here tonight at a classic oval track, where we're heading to a lot more classic oval tracks into the playoffs.
You know, it's always Larry Yingling's MO to, you know, not figure something out till right before those playoffs and those chase system comes in. Because I'll tell you what, for somebody to have a chase system ahead of him, that guy is so consistent. If he can find the speed, if he can find the way to get up there in the mix of the top 5 with Forbes and Vincent Sora and the others, he would be a very interesting pick, because he is just such a consistent driver that does not make the mistakes like other drivers. He could very well shake this up if he could get some momentum from a great run tonight.
He certainly can. And speaking about momentum, I mean, for Vincent Sora, this is huge. Due to the fact that John Force being caught up in that big one and running up front, Vincent Sora had the better stage overall points. The 15 could be taking over the regular season championship and win that regular season championship based off where the drivers run currently. Massive points given out to the 15 and the 11 who have been so dominant this season.
That is for sure. And that's been a great battle between those two. I think Forbes has really put his stranglehold on it, so to say, this past week. Oh man, look at this battle back here, getting mixy between that group. He's definitely took control of it as Forbes now trying to make up those spots and make up the points that he needs. But we'll see if that's in the mix. As Joshua Freed up into the wall there.
Joshua Freed just getting a lot of pressure behind, and it kind of forced his hand to get on the throttle sooner than he would like. Put himself into that outside wall. And now Samuel Garcia, Rookie of the Year of last season, our Season 2 champ, going to be dueling back and forth for 6th position as seeing the likes of Thomas Green. He was muscling on the outside row and was really starting to catch up to our front group, but it looks like his tires have fallen off for the 18. Garcia hoping to find an opening to get by back into the top 5 if possible, as other drivers struggling. As going to be Shelley here in the Boo Machine, hit the wall and now trying to recover after that mistake, as he's lost a couple of positions because of it.
And he has definitely lost a few spots and gonna have to drop back into line here behind the 39 of Freed, who just got into the wall himself not too long ago. And then we drop back here. It's the 13 Cedric Hunter, but you're gonna see him here off the exiting corner. That's the 12 truck of Presley Sora, 1 lap down, trying to find his way back. He just passed Cedric Hunter, who's about 5.6 seconds behind earlier Larry England. So that just shows you still the amount of time that Presley Sora still has to gain to get back on the lap. It's going to take a few laps, especially with that big group of trucks.
Yeah, that huge gaggle of drivers, the 12 hats in front of them, that is going to be the danger zone of, do you have the speed to get by them, or will you start to plateau in the middle of this group? Presley Sora finally detaching, trying to get it closer if he can. But that group, Zach, I've got a feeling the 12's going to hit that plateau. As Freed, big wiggle off the exit of 4. The 39 holds on. And that big wiggle is going to give an attempt to see the 12 get by, but this run is going to be so critical for Presley because I have a feeling that he's going to hit that plateau right when he catches this group, and it's going to be impossible to pass anybody.
That is my worry too, Sam. I think right here is not only the fact that he's going to hit that plateau. I think he's going to go by as he squeezes past Shelley there. I mean, that was literally a truck width of a gap there. Now he's going to cut below Michael Miller here. He's also got the legs of Sam Garcia. He's going to have a little mistake with the big run here. He's got to pick and choose his lanes wisely here because he knows he can't lose time, and it looks like he's going for it.
Slicing and dicing, high, low, anywhere you can find a hole to go. And 3 wide out, down to the bottom to get by multiple. And Presley Sora, the closing rate, it was just massive enough to get by drivers, and he goes high once again. A masterful performance. How to get by through a group without losing time was by the 12. Into pit road, though it's Thomas Green. He'll be the early stop. He missed, almost goes off into the grass. What's the 18? He's got to be careful, and I think that might have been trouble for Green. He came in very hot into the pit entry.
Looks like no black flags so far, so I mean, sometimes coming in a little swirly like that would actually get you a little more speed. So we'll see if they can get cleanly into the boxes. We check on Nick Crawford here. He's running back in 12th. He's another driver that could possibly try to look to stretch it. He does have more, laps on his tank of fuel than Cedric Hunter, but we'll see if Spider-Man can find his way back into victory lane with strategy.
Nick Crawford trying everything in his power to find the strategy that will work out in his favor. And we've seen so many times where Nick Crawford has had odd strategies. He kind of gets annoyed when we throw out the fact that his strategies are so different from others once he gets a win. But that has been Nick's MO for the last couple of seasons. Once he gets a win, he's willing to throw out off-ball strategies because he's locked into the playoffs. And here, Spider-Man, I'd have to try something a little bit abnormal from others.
He's definitely got to try a few things here to find his way to victory lane, so to say. So we'll check back on him. There's a big wiggle off the exit, but drivers in pit road. The 9 of Justin Campbell, he's going to come to pit road in that 9 machine. So he'll be the first of our top 3 to come through. But Vincent Sora now getting passed by his older brother, Presley Sora. But I tell you what, Larry Yingling opening up the gap to Vincent Sora. This 67 has found something.
He certainly has, and he is looking very good. Justin Campbell, though, I've got to keep an eye on him. He was locking up, going across the line, not caught speeding. Zach, I don't know how he didn't get caught speeding. Those tires were all flaming it up with the smoke when he crossed the line.
And I tell you what, the thing, like I said, even with Thomas Green, sometimes those sliding entries, those locking up entries, they're that much more on the edge of, so to say, getting penalties that you actually come out in a better position. So we'll see here. I think this is going to be actually the replay of his entry to pit road.
As the 9 machine was up high and he was trying to find a way to come into pit road. I was curious about the attempts that some drivers would have on, do you want to be patient? Do you want to be overly aggressive? And it was the aggression that really is going to be assisting some of these drivers, as you're going to see here, the 9 machine trying to get into his box, trying to get into the pit entry, overspeed, slams on the brakes, and woohoo, with it graced by the iRacing gods, was slowing down in time.
That's for sure. Definitely, that was exactly how you wanted it to play out. But look at this, Fonseca on pit road now, too, is the 24. Going to be exiting off pit road. Going to need that must win here for him tonight. Still an opportunity left for him, but we check back to our race leader, Larry Yingling. About a second gap back to Vince Asora. I mean, he is a tenth to 2 faster than anybody on the track when it comes to that set of tires.
I feel like we're scratching off names here, there, everywhere that are outside of our playoff 12 that are in a must-win scenario, finding themselves with a mistake. Another one could be added to the list. Michael Miller caught speeding, a 40-second hold for the 99. He will go a lap down as this run progresses forward.
Wow, that's a tough break there for Michael Miller. And now I'm looking through the rest of our field just to see, where did Justin Campbell come out? It looks like he's in the 15th position, and he's about a corner behind Presley Soares. So with those much fresher tires, he should be able to run that 12 down. I think the 12 is going to need some help from the likes of a yellow flag here if he's going to get some, big help to get back in a winning position. But we'll see how this shakes out now, because Vince Asora, Larry Yingling still continuing to trundle on. I don't think they can wait too long, though.
No, you're giving up so much time. Trent Jump, John Forbes now, they're going to be hitting pit road for both of them. Still waiting on Larry Yingling, Vincent Sora, Samuel Garcia to make their stop, with Martin Morales still out on track, seeing if Nick Crawford stays out. He does. Also, Mark Whitley staying out. Joshua Stovall, who's still on the lead lap, staying out for himself. But Samuel Garcia, again, he needs to make sure he at least leads a lap to get that bonus point. Then he can finish in the top 3 and be okay. Anything inside the top 3 is massive for this 50 machine, as now he'll go into pit road, not staying out the longest, trying to finish out with a good strategy here at the end of the day.
It's like our leader, Larry Yingling, didn't wait, like I was saying, and he's going to come to pit road, the 67, looking for his first victory here at ISRC. This could be his best opportunity, but look at his teammate Vince Asora. He continues on for another lap. We'll see if the 15 can continue to track on. And also Cedric Hunter up to second now. I think he's going for the whole run.
That's one of the drivers I was trying to watch out for. What is Cedric Hunter's difference to Thomas Green, who's currently the fastest driver, or leading the drivers that have already pitted? Thomas Green's about to be passed here, but right now for Cedric Hunter, big thing to watch out for is that middle gauge. Is there any movement that shows that he's clutching? Looks like it's a lot of let off and go going on with 13. Zach, that's a sign maybe he feels comfortable in the gas, or he doesn't know that he needs to start saving extreme mode yet.
Yeah, the thing about it, too, is it's tough to save a little bit here in Atlanta, too, because I talked to a few guys. Early in the run, you're not even fully lifting out of the throttle. So you have to kind of, drive a little bit different there early in the run to try to save the fuel. But the later this run goes on, the easier it will get for that 13. So I think that's why you're just seeing him utilize that lift strategy. We'll see if he ever decides to clutch, but the gap he has back to Presley Sora, who's the first truck to pitted, is about 19.5 seconds. So he does has a sizable gap here. If he can make the fuel stretch, it is going to be quite close.
It's going to be extremely close. Other drivers in note I'm watching out for: Larry Yingling. What speed will he have to be able to run down the likes of Thomas Green, Justin Campbell, who looked very quick at this current moment, but This group all knowing it is all go times. We're right on board with Nick Crawford, who is third on the board currently. He is clutching and trying to save that little bit of extra fuel. As you see there on the middle marker, it just drops instantly from 6 down to 0 when he enters the corner. And the aggressive saving from Nick Crawford, it's saving the fuel now, but the track, the timing on course, he's given up so much time because of this extreme save.
That is, I mean, right now Cedric Hunter about 3 seconds ahead of him. So if Nick Crawford is the only driver, say, to make it, if Hunter out front is using too much fuel and Crawford's the one to make it, then you're looking at only the gap being about 10 seconds back to Presley Sora with the freshest tires compared to Nick Crawford in the closest vicinity. So we'll see how it works out, but I know Thomas Green about to be passing Presley Sora for 7th. That'll put him in position with the freshest tires of the leaders.
Oh, and Justin Campbell has gotten by Presley Sora, so he's officially actually that first driver in 5th place. So the 9 machine is on the full go marker, and he's got fresher tires than even Thomas Green. So they continue to press on. Looking at other drivers have got fresh rubber that is trying to catch up to this group. 24 machine of Ollie Fonseca. Looking at the lap times, he's about 4/10, almost a half a second faster than the likes of Justin Campbell. Only issue, he's about 4 to 3 seconds behind that 9 machine and just got passed by Larry Yingling, who's got the freshest tires of anyone.
That he does, and Yingling right now using them to all avail. He's about 8/10 quicker than the likes of Justin Campbell, and I think this is smart. He needs to get to that 9. He's about 2.5 seconds back. Use what you got, because right now this could be the race for the win.
Who's going to be in the better position, or is it the drivers that save the fuel? We've had fuel-saving runs in the past. Presley Sora and Shelley getting close with one another as Yingling blasts his way forward. Thinking back to that season 2 when we got to see Eric Stamp get his first career win in the ISRC Truck Series. What an absolute mind-blowing moment. We never thought anyone could save the amount of fuel that the 53 did. Here tonight, we might have to see someone go even further than Eric Stamp went, because I believe Eric saved about 55 laps of fuel and they went clean and green during that race. Here tonight, 57 or even more than that you have to save on fuel since the last time that Cedric Hunter, Nick Crawford, and Mark Morales went into pit road.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 56 green flag laps and 57 including that one caution lap. So it's going to be close. I mean, Cedric Hunter's pace is still very, very strong. I will say, Yingling about 2 seconds a lap faster than him right now. That will start to change as Yingling now actually passing Thomas Green to be about 14 seconds back from Cedric Hunter. That time's going to stall out a little bit, but even if Cedric Hunter can make it, Yingling does have a shot to get to him.
He certainly does. Mark Whitley here on screen has the oldest and the furthest distance you have to go of anyone out on track. He's about 3 laps from hitting lap 50, and then the final 15 laps are going to be the unknown of can Mark Whitley make it to the end. Crawford, who pitted 4 laps later than Mark Whitley, is backing off still on his pace as Mark Whitley is going full bore and just about to enter the no man knowing zone of who can make it from there. As Cedric Hunter, a mere 8, almost 9 seconds ahead of these drivers.
We'll see how can he save the fuel, and Whitley, of course, going to have to be coming down here very shortly to be able to get to pit road. Morales still most likely in a position to have to pit. He's in the same ballpark as Nick Crawford, about 1 lap less on their fuel, or 1 lap more on their fuel than the 13th Cedric Hunter. So we'll see how that all shakes out, but I can confirm Yingling just about clearing the 9 of Campbell as they're going to be coming up the lap. Traffic, Yingling will clear him.
Able to clear. Now is the lead driver of note to watch out for. Larry Yingling. Can his 10-lap fresh tires run down the 43-lap old tires? And actually more than that. It's 43 laps, 44 now for Cedric Hunter since he pitted to top off on fuel. The 13 is doing everything in his power to save fuel and have enough, while Larry Yingling 10 seconds behind, 14 laps to go. And Zach looking at the map for Yingling. He might be there with a good solid about 6 laps to go in this race. It looks to be, it's going to be easy for Yingling to catch up to Cedric Hunter as Nick Crawford has been passed. He's falling backwards. The gamble wasn't enough. They couldn't keep up enough speed. It's all on Yingling to catch that 13.
It is all on Yingling now to catch him, and Yingling's got to continue putting great laps in because yes, he's passing the likes of Mark Whitley, the likes of Nick Crawford, and Martin Morales here very shortly after this, but he's still got 8 seconds up to Cedric Hunter. The time is there with the lap times he's running right now, but those lap times will start to fade as we get closer to the end of this race. I think Cedric Hunter's is most likely going to stay in the same zone, so he's got to continue to gain the most time he possibly can, because this will be very, very close, because that time he's going to gain is going to shrink.
Shrinking 8 seconds now as he crosses the line. Cedric Hunter exiting 2 at this moment. 12 laps to go. And looking at points for drivers out there on track, if you're Joshua Kanata, you need at least one more position to go ahead of Cody Reed in points. Kanata runs at 18th position. 17th would give him that playoff spot. The driver he needs to catch up to is Michael Miller, who is currently 4 laps ahead of Kanata.
So tough, and Kanata just way off the pace with the damage he has. It's going to be, most likely something has to happen here to catch him out. But here goes Larry Yingling. He's going to make the pass for second. Now 6.6 seconds. Again, that last time by, Yingling about 1.1 seconds faster. He's got to continue that trait, though, because we're going to be coming to 10 to go. He's going to need to be over a half a second faster for every lap if he wants this.
He's got to hope those tires are going to be enough as we continue to race on. We're in the final 10 laps. Larry Yingling hoping to catch up as quickly as possible. It's down to less than 6 seconds, and Yingling knows it's possible. It's just going to be a lot of work.
It's going to be a lot of work. It's a full straightaway gap that he has to make up. Cedric Hunter last time by 33.38, Yingling 32.54, so only about an 0.8 of a second gap of increase there for Yingling with his gap shrinking down for him. I think he's got to continue that, Sam, and right there again that time about another 9 to 0.8. If he can continue that, he will get there.
He will get there, but then it's the question of how would Cedric Hunter defend? How is Cedric Hunter willing to use up maybe a little bit of extra fuel if he saved enough? And can drivers stay clean and green? Because we had a big slip up of drivers further on back. Danny Cochran, big slide for the 2 machine. We stay green, but what are the tires going to look like for those that are pushing so aggressively for every position right now?
It's going to be very, very interesting for sure, Sam, is right now. That time by only an 0.8 gain again, so Yingling's continuing to shrink the gap, but the time is running out, and right here Cedric Hunter just has to feel pretty confident when it comes to fuel, because I haven't seen too many drop off in the pace from him. He must feel like he's got enough, but also talking to Cedric Hunter before tonight's race, he said he has nothing to lose. He was locked in pretty much when it comes to points. He just wants to get a victory, and the 13 looking to get in style.
Mark Whitley had to go into pit road. He's going to get service done. Ran out of fuel with 7 laps to go. Now for Cedric Hunter, it's less than 4 seconds between himself and Larry Yingling with 7 laps to go. Tyler Dingler able to make his pit stop and drives on by. Still, Joshua Kanata runs in 18th position, needs one more spot. Danny Cochran is now forced into pit road. He couldn't make it all the way to the end. Kanata is going to be in a weird spot where I don't know if the 16 with his slower pace, he should be able to make it to the end of this thing, and hoping for mistakes by other drivers to maybe get that final spot if possible. Cedric Hunter, 3.5 seconds. Larry Yingling, as he crosses the line, he's catching him, but with 6 laps to go. That last time around, Zach, it was a little bit slower.
It definitely was. It was only 0.6 of a second that time. That still gets him there if he stays in that gap, but I do see that lap time possibly dropping a little bit more for him. But Cedric Hunter coming to pit road, he doesn't have the fuel.
He couldn't make it. Coming up to 5 laps to go. Larry Yingling takes the pass for the lead. No more fuel drama. It's the run down to be a up front, and now the question rotates over to Vincent Sora, who's been running at about a 10th behind, a 10th faster, I should say, than Larry Yingling. He's about a second and a half behind that 67. But Sora, he's got a lot fresher tires than Larry Yingling, but I don't know if Sora's got the time to catch that 67. Larry Yingling, who's waited all season long, could find himself getting his first ISRC Larry R Productions Truck Series win with 4 more laps to go.
That lap time by, though, it was a little bit of a struggle. He lost almost about 2.5 tenths back to Vincent Sora, and Sora gets closer. The more draft that will be available to him, the more he'll suck him in to that 15 up to the 67. But the dirty air also going to play a factor. Also, we have Cochran disconnecting.
Yeah, he disconnected. He disconnected to gift the spot to Joshua Kanata. It was all of his hope that Kanata could maybe point his way in by just racing. Danny Cochran did not have the speed to point his way in, so it looks like he would leave early to allow Joshua Kanata to make the pass, which would put Kanata in the playoffs. A driver that missed 2 whole races because he had work obligations that took him away from really a true fight to make it to the playoffs. He's had solid finishes for most of the season when he's raced. Kanata might be gifted a spot into the playoffs with Cody Reed not showing up and Danny Cochran pulling off of this race early, but it's going to come down to the timing of how fast Larry Yingling can finish this race to Kanata trying to pass all of Danny Cochran's laps.
He's going to have to get those back for sure, and that's going to be interesting to see if that even shakes out, because there's 2 laps to go for Larry Yingling. I think Kanata this time is actually someone in the grass. I think Joshua Freed is in the grass, but I think he's going to keep it straight for the time being. Larry Yingling just wants to see a white flag, and Joshua Kanata wants to see him moving up a position.
And Nick Crawford cannot finish out this race. He had to go to pit road with 2 to go, and off the exit of 4, Larry Yingling, only 1 top 5 entering tonight, and it was the first race of the season at Daytona. There really wasn't a thought of maybe he would get into victory lane this season with how just under the radar he was. But Zach, out of 2, Yingling leads over 7/10 over Vincent Sora.
He's got the gap. He's got, momentum building, and this man surprised us tonight. Nobody's seen this one coming. He found something late in the going, and he's going to be a winner, Sam.
All the highlights of Presley Sora was showing up just behind him. We knew Yingling was there as well. The speed finally shows, and Larry Yingling is an ISRC Larry R Productions Truck Series winner. He'll take the Spooky Arts Production 225 here at Atlanta. Congratulations to Larry Yingling. Looking at the positions, Joshua Kanata with just 1 lap was able to get by Danny Cochran. Kanata makes it to the playoffs.
Wow, what a job by Kanata there to go on to the next round. And I tell you what, again, a consistency driver. When you get to that chase format, he'll be right in the mix. But look at everybody coming up to thank the 67 and congratulate him. And I think this is going to be a popular win for a lot of people out there.
A driver that we've seen be a 3-time champion in the WSSR Cup Series, transferred over to test out his truck skills, and tonight proves that he will be a driver to watch out for. Larry Yingling takes the win and the victory here this evening. Also want to give kudos to Vincent Sora, Justin Campbell, as when we come back after this, we've got the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 3 and a spotlight driver. What a run. We're most likely going to talk to the driver that takes that final spot. So most likely it's going to be Joshua Kanata. But man, what a night of insane, crazy racing. We saw the big one. We saw some strategy. And it's Larry Yingling taking the victory. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISRC Larry R Productions Truck Series post-race show for the Spooky Arts Production 225 at Old Atlanta. Crazy racing all around, and it looks to be one of the crazier finishes. A driver that we even talked about at the start of the race of just being under the radar looks solidified to make it into the playoffs and will do just that. We've got Larry Yingling with us. Larry, you get your first ISRC win. It's been a long time since we've seen you in victory lane in general, but man, how are you feeling after getting this one?
Oh, I feel great. That was definitely unexpected. I know there was some help with that big wreck, and uh, but that first run, I really just took care of my tires the entire race. I'm probably one of the worst at saving tires. I just made sure. Well, I knew if I just pushed and pushed the whole time, there was no chance, and it was either maybe get top 15 or at least try do something opposite and get the win.
Well, buddy, you definitely got it done. Congrats, Larry, on a victory. Added to your illustrious career here in iRacing, man. I mean, it's actually your first one since January 31st of earlier this year, so it's been a while. But you know, how has it been growing to this point in this series? Because we've seen, we thought when you come out the gates, we figured you'd be right there in the mix, but it's taken this long. How do you feel about your growth through the series and now the final regular season race, getting that first win?
Definitely have gotten better. Even last week, I kind of did the same thing and just got ninth or 10th at the very end. Uh, Really, I'm just glad to do good in the trucks. It's a few years ago, and I did Road to Pro for a few weeks, and I felt like I was having the same season as this season. No matter what I did, how slow or maybe how fast, I would only get top 10 at best, usually top 15. And last 2 weeks, whatever I was doing to my tires, it's definitely helped.
I mean, Larry, this race, getting the momentum right before the playoffs start. I know it's going to be a chase format, all about that regular, staying consistent form. Are there any racetracks in this playoffs that you're excited for? I know we started off with Talladega, then North Wilkesboro, Sonoma, Las Vegas, Phoenix, and then finishing out at Chicagoland. Are there any of these final six that are coming to mind that you might say, hey, I got a really good chance there?
I No idea. I don't really know half the playoff schedule, but I know just those first three races. If I can just be anywhere within the race distance away, I think I can maybe have a shot if something happens.
Well, Larry, we're excited to see how your playoff performance is going to take off and go. But for tonight, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Definitely on my teammates, Kevin Hash. Shout out to him. He made a great pit call, pit on 125, because I had no idea when to pit. I made sure with 10 laps prior to that, I tried to pull away from Vinny, and definitely someone did. And then Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter, Danny Cochran, and big shout out to you guys for the broadcast. And hopefully I finish next week on 4 wheels.
We're open for that as well. That will be your winner here tonight for the Spooky Art Productions 225. Larry Yingling taking the last regular season race with a victory. Congratulations, Larry. Enjoy this one and good luck into the chase.
Thank you, sir.
As we go from victory lane, we go down to second place to see if we can bring in the Vincent Sora machine, as we've got the 15 Spooky Sora production, Sora Cochran racing team. We've got ourselves with Vincent Sora. Sora, I mean, you looked strong. At moments we thought you were the favorite, but man, how are you feeling coming away second here tonight?
I feel pretty good. I think I got kind of lucky finishing second because um, a lot of the guys I was racing wrecked, and then I kind of fell apart there at the end. But at the beginning of the race, I think I was one of the fastest trucks. Especially, I was really bad as always on the short run. But after like lap 25, I just started really digging, man. I was super fast, and then as uh, as soon as I got around one of the guys I was racing, my brother had the clean air in the lead. I started closing up to him, and then we pit. And then I kind of had a bad pit exit, and the yellow came out, and from there on, I just I don't know. I couldn't really get my rhythm back. I didn't feel as good as I did at the beginning of the race. It was probably just track changing, and I couldn't adapt to it as well as I would have liked to. But yeah, Larry drove a heck of a race. I'm super happy for Larry because he's had a up and down season, and tonight, I mean, he put it on us. He was really quick, and at the end, he kind of baited me into a trap, and I just burnt my rears up trying to race him, and he started driving away. So I'm happy with P2. It sucks that I think I lost the regular season title within the last 4 weeks when my worst finish is fourth. Just so happens that a lot of races fell into the hands of John, but I think I'm gonna have a good playoffs and hopefully go get another title.
Definitely agree with you there, Vinny, that you're gonna have a good shot when we get to this chase format here heading up next week. But the racing tonight was very wild. It seemed like saving was a huge a benefit and a huge negative for some. So take us through what your decision making was there, because you were definitely very quick, like you said, to end that first run before we came through that pit cycle.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to save enough where I knew my tires would feel better at the end of the run than the guys that I was around, but I didn't want to give up too much time because then you have to burn your tires up, making that time back, obviously. So yeah, I think most of us had to save a little bit tonight, at least. It's not like the typical mile and a half where you can just have a guy go out there and flat foot and then kind of break even at the end. Tonight it was a driver's race, which is what we need more of. So I love saving tires, and I love all of us sliding around, and hopefully have more races just like that.
I mean, Vinny, we're heading into a chase format and a lot of tracks that we've seen in the past year in ISRC where you've had success in. How are you feeling for the chase and the fact that it's a different playoff program than what we've seen in the past?
Well, I feel really good. I mean, I'm not a fan of elimination style points. I don't know. I had it go my way in season one, and then last season I lost it in the last race, which sucked. But yeah, I love when it's just heads up points and who can accumulate the most each race and have the best finishes in each race. I think that's what I do a really good job at. Like I said, my worst finish in the last like 4 or 5 or even longer is like fourth, which was last week. Which I mean, it still came back and bit me, and I lost 31 points to John, like I said. But yeah, I love the I don't love the elimination style format, and I love the chase format. And I think if I just keep on taking off finishes like I do, and maybe hopefully can finish ahead of John here in the last 8 or so weeks, however many, I can hopefully go get title number 2.
I mean, we cannot wait to see how you're going to perform in the chase, Vinny. But before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any more extra shout outs.
Yeah, first off, Danny Cochran, I think he ended up falling short there to make the chase. He's just had horrible luck this season, and where he's going to finish in points is not reflective of what he deserves at all. So I'm really feeling for him. Hopefully, he can rebound and show everybody where he belonged and get a couple wins. Here towards the end of the season, here he painted me a beautiful race truck tonight, and he paints me beautiful race trucks and race cars every single week. So shout out to him. I'm thinking about him. Hopefully, he can, like I said, he can rebound and get some good finishes in the season. Shout out to Larry. I'm really happy for him to get a win tonight, and you guys for broadcasting.
Well, thank you for giving us such a great show to call here tonight. That'll be your second place finisher of Vincent Sora here for the Spooky Art Productions 225. Vinny, enjoy this one and good luck heading into the chase.
Thanks, fellas. Have a good one.
You too. As we move from second place, we go down to third to bring in a driver that really was looking strong on the long run. We've got Justin Campbell with us. Justin, you've looked so quick this evening, especially on those long run that we had. Kind of shocked us in that first stint of how quickly you marched up to the top 5. How are you feeling though after the incredible run you had here tonight and just coming up third?
I feel really good about my finish tonight. Long run pace was the name of the game here. Like those green flag runs are really important to conserve your tires and so on. I feel like I did a pretty good job at that and I had a lot of fun doing it. Just didn't have good enough short run speed.
Definitely was close there for you when it came to the speed that you had there tonight. Justin was right in the mix there, especially on those long runs, like you were saying. But man, I mean, 8 top tens in a row coming in out of here tonight to Atlanta at the end of the regular season. It's going to take consistency in the chase. How do you feel about that momentum of 8 top tens in a row before we head to a format like that where it's going to take consistency?
Feel good about it. Just gonna keep doing what I've been doing the past few races. Just mind my own business and trying to stay out of my own way and everybody else's way and just run my own race. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, speaking of running your own race, I know tonight with the middle of the race caution that came out, kind of put a mixture of everyone knowing it was just a one stop. What was it like making the decision on when it was time to go into pit road?
Honestly, it was just a gamble. It was either I pit before them because I didn't have nothing for them, see if I can be able to outrun them by the time they catch up to me. But unfortunately, I misjudged the pit window for myself. So it is what it is.
And it was good enough to get you into the chase. Justin, it was incredible to watch you throughout this season. And before we get done with tonight, the floor is now yours for any more shout outs.
Uh, Thanks to everybody that tuned in to watch tonight. Hope everybody enjoyed it. And that's all I really got.
That was a fun one to watch. That will be the number 9 machine of Justin Campbell coming away third here tonight, making the chase. We cannot wait to see how you perform next week, Justin. Good luck at Talladega.
Thank you.
As we move from third place, we're actually going to bring up the driver that snuck his way in, going to be 17th in position and got that one spot late on the final lap. Adding all the drama you could ask for, we've got ourselves the 17th place finisher, 16 truck, the zombie machine. Probably felt like a zombie for most of the night. We got Joshua Kanata with us. Josh, you make the chase. 1 point, 1 position. Danny Cochran kind of giving up and helping and assisting you there late by pulling off the track. But how are you feeling knowing that you made the playoffs by the smallest of margins?
I can't believe it. I thought we were done as soon as I got up in that rack, and I was talking to Justin about it too. No hard feelings with that whole situation. I'm stunned. I don't know what happened with Danny. I know he was racing sick tonight, so I don't know if maybe that just got to him towards the end, or we got lucky, and I'm hoping that we didn't just use up all of our luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully we can get off to a hot start at Talladega.
Definitely going to need that luck to continue over there for sure, Josh. Congrats first off on making it to the next round. But how tough is it to run around there with the truck as hurt as yours was? Because it looked like it was very hard to drive.
Oh, it was terrible. It wanted to spin every corner. I was running half throttle just to make sure the engine didn't blow up, because it did it at New Hampshire when I still had a lot of damage that had to be repaired. I just kept logging laps, hoping that someone would, maybe I saw some people were blinking, maybe someone would disconnect or a crash or something. I wasn't sure, but I think Stovall got loose, unfortunately. Sorry for all the Stovall fans out there. He got loose and hit the wall, and he had a lot of damage, and then Danny hopped off. I going into it, I thought I needed to be 18th. So I didn't actually, I think I only found out maybe 20 to go. Someone pointed it out to me that Cody had the tiebreaker, and I was just like, crap. So it was definitely not the most fun race I've ever had, but we'll take the result.
It certainly was a wild result. I know, Josh, we talked a lot these past couple of weeks, the fact of you were just chasing to get that into the points in that 12th place position. You need a lot of things to go your way, but now that you know that you made the chase, you've been so consistent in the middle of this season. How do you feel like that consistency can roll into the playoffs, as you've had a rough couple of weeks here of late?
Yeah, just try to put the last couple of weeks behind me and just get right back at it. The way I see it, I'm kind of playing with house money at this point now. So we're just gonna, just send it and see what happens, and maybe we get lucky again. Maybe lightning strikes twice. I don't know, but we're gonna give it all we got. I know we have a few bonus points going into it. I was informed of that. So, like I said, just try to get off to a hot start next week and get some momentum going again.
Well, we cannot wait to see how you're going to perform heading into the chase, Josh. Congratulations on making it by just 1 point. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any extra shout-outs.
Yeah, of course, first off, thanks for you guys for putting on this show, and thanks for the guys who run this league. It's a ton of fun, and we have some dramatic moments like this every once in a while. So Everybody who's watching, we love you all, even if most of you are still Evolve fans, but it's all right. He's a great dude. As for everybody else, hope to see you next week, and hopefully we can finish this one a little bit better.
We're open for that for you as well, Josh. Congratulations on making the chase. Take this one and put it behind you, and good luck next week at Talladega.
Thank you, guys.
Well, that will be the last driver that makes it into the chase. It is going to be not just 12, but 13 drivers will be racing for the Season 7 championship. But before we get too far ahead and looking into next week, we'll first take a look at our unofficial results for tonight's race. It's your Spooky Art Productions 225. As we gotta have to readjust the results. There it is. Larry Ingley in the 67 machine taking the victory here tonight. His first win of this rookie career that we thought maybe it would be a few more already, but it'll take its first right before the chase. As second place goes to Vincent Sora. Third is Justin Campbell. Thomas Green, who is our pole sitter here tonight, thought at the moment he was going to be the favorite to win, comes away fourth. Trent Jump, great recovery run for the 46. He takes fifth. Sixth was Ali Fonseca, who was in a must-win scenario, just did not line up for himself. Seventh was John Forbes. Isaac Shelley, winner of the Scheme of the Night by Larry Art Productions. He'll take that eighth place position, Samuel Garcia, who also was in a must-win scenario, will take 9th, and 10th will be the 12 machine of Presley Sora. But Zach, I mean, overall, a wild night, and that big one is what shook up everything.
Oh, for sure. That big one shook up everything. I mean, of course, with that long green flag run, and it really got shook up by that. And as you look through the rest of the order, a lot of the guys that got messed up by that, that run was the drivers that tried to stretch the fuel center counter back in 12th, Whitley back in 13th, Crawford 16th. The likes of Kanata, they're getting 17th. We thought that he's going to make it, but it was a wild night and a classic way to end the ISRC for a regular season finale.
I feel like if it's a cutoff race for the past elimination playoffs, or even coming down here late, there's always some drama and flair right around the corner, and Joshua Kanata takes that spot. As we've got more exciting racing throughout the week, we'll do a breakdown of those 13 drivers that make it in after this, because here is our upcoming schedule as we find ourselves tomorrow night. It is the time to see who could be marching themselves in a better position into the playoffs as the Challenger Racing League grows ever so more every other week. We'll see how many drivers show up for tomorrow night, as it's the next it's the Challenger Racing League and those next gen cars. Next Wednesday, cannot believe it, it's already upon us. This upcoming Wednesday, we are still off of the WSSR, but we will be back for season 10 just around the corner, November 6th. Then on Thursday, we actually are going to be finding those drivers taking the week off. We'll be back in 2 weeks for the Doghouse Cup Series, as they have their official Halloween off for Thursday night. But certainly a full week upon us in just about a week. It's crazy to say, Zach, but WSSR going to give us a lot of racing action next week that I'm excited for.
That's for sure. Yeah, well, 2 weeks away from almost full-time action again. So this is going to be definitely epic before we head to the Thanksgiving break here before we get into November. So can't wait to see all the racing, and thank you to everybody who's been tuning in week in and week out here at Freaky Fast and all the great leagues we have.
We appreciate it so much, as tonight was the end of the regular season. We knew at least 12 drivers would make it into the playoffs, but with Cody Reed missing out on tonight's race, it gave an opening, a chance, a berth for Danny Cochran or Joshua Kanata. Well, Kanata made it in, so we will have now 13 drivers racing for a championship. Your regular season champion will be John Forbes, 4 points over Vincent Sora. Third driver to make the playoffs will be Thomas Green, Nick Crawford, Presley Sora, Trent Jump, Larry Yingling, Justin Campbell, Cedric Hunter, Christopher Norris, Mark Whitley, Joshua Kanata, and Cody Reed, your 13 drivers that will be racing for a championship. And Zach, that is a high-quality championship group of drivers to watch out for.
No doubt. It's going to be whoever wins that is going to be just the best driver over that next course of weeks.
And the big shocker, of course, Danny Cochran, our season 3 champion, missing out with the change of the playoffs. We shortened the field that was going to make it in, and the 2 machine will not be making the playoffs, nor will some Final Four contenders in the past. The Ali Fonseca will not be making the playoffs, which is another shocker of note. But 13 drivers, they're ready for racing action. They will start next week at a track that is going to set the tone for some. Talladega will be the starting destination for the Season 7 chase. So we cannot wait for it. But for tonight, thank you so much to everyone that joined with us. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we appreciate you just watching, hitting the heart button, commenting, just watching and enjoying the show. And for those that subscribe, we appreciate that. Also, liking, it shows us when you're enjoying the product that we're giving you out. And if you'd like to see more racing action, like we said, we got throughout the week. Tuesday, we got Monday through Thursday. But if you want to see the playoffs begin next week, Talladega for the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series, who will hoist the Season 7 championship. You'll have to tune in for these next couple of weeks to see who will hoist it. But if you want to see more racing action before Monday, we got you covered tomorrow night. It's the Challenger Racing League as they are still in their playoff hunt. Don't want to miss it. It's Homestead. We'll be back with more racing action. Cannot wait for it tomorrow night for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.